Hello, assalamu alaikum, and welcome to my channel Networking with Nia Jarafin. I hope you have been chilling as always. Today I will toss in a new tech problem, the fix and hands-on troubleshooting. So straight up, let's jump in. Let's learn together how to create shared mailbox properly, exploring all and each options with proper explanation and which scenario fits which environment. That's more important. Before we begin, let us understand what is the difference between shared mailbox and a user account. So I'm in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. I'm in the active user section. This is a active user. So Microsoft treat a user as a login identity. That means user can sign in, user can use apps like Outlook, Teams, OneDrive, SharePoint, etc. That's why a user account requires a license, but a user account can also be in the tenant without any license. Then what's the difference between a licensed user and unlicensed user? Well, of course, the feature will be different. A licensed user can use apps. Unlicensed user will have limitation using apps and other features. And there could be many other things. Without a license, a user will be able to log in, but the user will not have any mailbox. The user will not have any mailbox, no Teams, OneDrive, etc. Just sign in. Almost like useless. But the point is, you have an option to assign license for an user account. But if you go to Teams and Groups and then Shared Mailbox, you will see the Shared Mailbox option. But for Shared Mailbox, you don't need to have any license because Shared Mailbox does not have any login identity. Shared Mailbox cannot have individual apps like Outlooks, Teams, OneDrive, etc. It is just for an exchange mailbox. Why do you need a shared mailbox? Well, organization might have different goals for shared mailbox, but in general, for a billing account, for a research account, for a conversation account, maybe you need multiple users in the same mailbox to access all the information. In that case, you need a shared mailbox. So you have lots of people into that mailbox who can read, compose, or send emails from that shared mailbox account. These are the shared mailbox. You don't have a direct option to assign license from here, but here Microsoft confuses with its UI even for the admins. Like if you create a shared mailbox here, like add a shared mailbox, give it a name, this will be under this tenant. This is the generic tenant that Microsoft give to everybody. But anyway, you give it a name here. Let's say support. You give it a name, support, and you create a shared mailbox. It will be showing up here. But when you create a shared mailbox, it will immediately start to show up here. The same way you see this shared mailbox here, they are shared mailbox. See this? If you go to active users, you will also see them. And the reason Microsoft allow to show up shared mailbox under active user, because likewise a real user, the shared mailbox also a user object in Microsoft Entra ID, or previously we used to call it Azure, meaning this shared mailbox has an identity record, it has a username and email address, and it also exists in the Azure directory or Entra ID. If you see here, it has a username and email address, that is the identity record. That's why the shared mailbox also showed up under active users. But that doesn't mean if you create a real user here, like add user, put all the information, blah, 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 an active user or a user, it's never going to show up under shared mailbox. That's different. Only the other route. Shared mailbox will show up under active users. But let us clarify some confusion. I have seen system administrator or cloud administrator sometimes go under some confusion to isolate the real user account and shared mailbox account because they both appears under active users. So how can you identify or establish distinguishment? Yes, there are some confusing part, like this is a real user. I have created, I know that. And by the licensing category, you can also identify. But that's not the only identity for an user account versus a shared mailbox account. There could be users without any license. So license is not the only key factor. Let us do some side-by-side comparison. I had taken an snapshot earlier to do a side-by-side comparison. This is an active user. The number one in this picture is a real user, and this is a shared mailbox. There are some similarities and of course some dissimilarities. You see, reset password, we have an option to reset password for the user. Shared mailbox does not have it. See here, the alias, it does not have that part. It has an option for sign out. You don't see that. Most importantly, first name and last name. You cannot create a real user without the first name and last name. You have to put something, but you don't need first and last name for shared mailbox. You can assign license definitely for users. Here is a key part. If you want, you can add a license for shared mailbox, which is not required, as I said earlier, because shared mailbox are not for application users like OneDrive, Teams, Outlook, etc. However, if you want, if you try to license them, the moment you license them, Microsoft tenant, your tenant will start to behave like a real user. It will give you a individual mailbox. Almost it will confuse you. In that case, it's no longer a shared mailbox. It will be a user. Okay. Anyway, to precisely isolate between a user versus a shared mailbox, your Microsoft 365 Admin Center is not the right place. You must go to Exchange Admin Center. If you go, I have already had it here, and then recipient and mailbox, you see the difference here. These two account is shared mailbox versus this one is a user mailbox. This is the place where you consider who is what. Now let's go back to our original goal for this video, Microsoft 365 Admin Center, and we will now learn how to create a shared mailbox, exploring all its options. Now watch carefully. I'm under Teams and Groups, shared mailbox. I already have two shared mailbox, but I would like to demonstrate how to effectively create a shared mailbox exploring all its options. You will see it, what I mean by all options. First step, add a shared mailbox. Let's say the name of the shared mailbox is my company name, and let's say it's for help desk. It's just a name. Okay, and the email address would be just the help desk. Okay, so helpdesk@yourdomain.com. If you click here, this is your custom domain that you purchased from either GoDaddy, Namecheap, or from any domain store. But don't get confused with the onmicrosoft.com domain, because that's a default domain that every Microsoft tenant receive from Microsoft, because here Microsoft is facilitating you. Even without a custom domain like this, you will still have some exchange domain. That's for sandboxing. Okay, so definitely it will be your custom domain. Save changes. We need to give it a minute. See here the confirmation. Within a couple of minutes, you can add members who can read and reply to email sent to your shared mailbox. You can also do automatic replies and email forwarding. Next step is to add members or managed shared mailbox details. We are not going to do it from here. If we want, we can add members directly from here. In that case, we are not learning, exploring all the other options. We must need that if you are a cloud admin. You definitely need to learn this. Cross out from here, refresh. Now we have helpdesk@yourdomain.com, right? Don't get confused with this name. It is just a naming convention that I set up for my organization. You could do it differently. Name has nothing to do with your mail routing. Okay, as we learned earlier, we must see this help desk into our active users right now. Ta-da, it's here. If we go back to Admin Exchange Center, refresh, see help desk is a shared mailbox. Okay, anyway, we have just done the first part, but the crucial part are still remaining, and we are going to do it now. Let's get back to our shared mailbox, the one we just created. Select that one. See here, members and manage mailbox permission. Member takes the higher authority. When you add any member here, like I'm going to add myself, add members. This is the only one active user I have at the moment, so I will select that one. In the organization, you might have 200 users, 20 users, 50 users. It depends on the size of the organization. Add. Okay, refresh, go back. So what is happening? Since I have the access here in this help desk shared mailbox, it is going to show up automatically in my Outlook application. I can read emails, I can reply emails, and when recipient are going to receive emails, they are not going to see my actual email address, but they are going to see email is going from help desk, not from me. That's the goal. That's what we wanted, right? Okay, as promised, we will explore all other options. If we go back to the option, if you see members is this one. Let's say I remove myself, yes, and cross out, go back to the option. See, it becomes 0 again, membership is gone. And now if we want to do it from permission level, mailbox permission level, what is happening? Exactly, this is where entry-level administrator get confused. If you hit read and manage, it is going to be similar to adding members, but when you add members, it takes full control all at once. If you do it from here, you have to add them manually in every 3 sections. Now let's say if I want to do only from read and manage permission, what is happening? Well, I can open mailbox manually. I can read emails, but when I'm sending emails, client don't see help desk. Client will see my email address, which is here in this case. We don't want that, right? So that is one option. Now let's say I don't do it from member, and I also don't do read and manage permission, but only send as permission. What is happening? In that case, I will not be able to read anything from the mailbox, like whatever is coming into this help desk. I cannot read it, but I can only send emails blindly. Somebody just told me, hey, I see this mail is coming to the help desk. I know you don't see that, but just send them. Just reply the email saying this. You have no idea what was the previous thread unless somebody is kindly forwarding to you. You're just randomly, blindly replying the recipient. Yeah, but the recipient will see this email address as the sender. Now, let's say you do this permission and that permission, read and manage and send as permission. What is happening? I can read and I can send. Client see this email address, issue resolved. Well, that will work like members, but sometime Outlook auto mapping may not happen. Now, let's say the last option, send on behalf of permissions. I'm not doing this one. I'm not doing this one. I'm also not adding myself in the member. I'm just doing this third option, send on behalf of permissions. What is happening? I can send emails, but client this time will see unnecessary information, like client will see my name on behalf of help desk, which is unnecessary. We don't need that. Now let's say you add yourself into all of these three, right? Read and manage, send as, and send on behalf. I can read from help desk, I can send also from help desk, and I can also send on behalf of help desk using my address, right? It will work, but it will be a little bit messy. Now let's say in scenario 5, I add myself all into these three options and in the members as well. What is happening? Mailbox auto appears. That means my Outlook will have that help desk auto mapped, will be auto mounted to my Outlook. I can read, I can send. Client will see email is going from help desk, right? But in my case, I will revert back to the first option, edit, and I will leave my settings like that. Why I would like to do that? Because when you have less people and you don't have to delegate with a lot of people, so it will not add extra overhead or complexity. It will be a nice and easy setup. I'll refresh. So what is happening right now? I can send, read and reply emails on behalf of, I can read and reply as help desk. For quick mnemonic, if you add anybody from the members section, everything auto mapping and everything is happening automatically, versus if you do it from here, that's a manual control. So I will remove myself from here as well, and from the send on behalf as well. Well, it's gone automatically. Thank you. If this helped, hit subscribe for more real hands-on tech troubleshooting. Any questions, any thoughts, drop them in the comments. Stay tuned and I will see you in the next one.